Good morning, guys. This is Steve Skillern at Jet Lending, otherwise known as Hard Money Steve. Let's talk about the buy formula, basic buy formula for a fix and flip. This also applies if you're doing a fix and hold. Numbers will be a little bit different on the backside, but we're doing the formula for the basic formula structure for a buy, fix, and flip, and why these numbers are what they are. So the basic formula is 70% of ARV, or the after repaired value. Subtract from that closing costs. Subtract from that number repairs. That is the number that we are going to fund at closing. That is also the number, in my opinion, that you need to be at when you buy the property. Two reasons. One, that's the number that you will be at for no money out of pocket at closing. Second, that's the number you will be at for your starting point of your gross margin. So if you buy it all in at 70% of ARV, all in being purchase, repairs, and closing costs, then you go to the title company, you sign papers, and you leave the owner of the house. You're about to get started. You do not bring any cash to closing. That gives you a 30% margin when you start the project, provided you're able to sell it in roughly 6 months. You're able to sell it at the number you think you can sell it for, the ARV, in other words, and just basic closing costs. You're not assisting the buyer in their closing costs. You're not having to reduce the price. You're all of the numbers that you expected when you bought it pan out, and you hit your numbers spot on. You'll have a 30% gross margin when you start, and when you finish, you're going to have roughly a 15% margin when you finish. Now, how does that other 15% disappear? This is really important. You've got holding costs along the way. You've got payments coming to us as a lender. You've got payments going to the utilities every month. You've got yard maintenance. You've got people coming in and cleaning the house up once it's on the market and you're ready to show it. You've got realtor fees when you sell it. You've got title fees a second time when you sell it. You've got all of this host of other things, and it will eat up about 15% of your profit. 15 to 18%. I'm sorry, your profit will be, when you finish, 15 to 18%. Generally speaking, you'll be at about 18% if you're not contributing to buyer's closing costs. You'll be at roughly 15% if you are contributing to buyer's closing costs. Most of them ask for it, especially in today's market. So where do you end up? 15%. Why is 15% a really important number? You've got on a $300,000 deal, that's a $45,000 profit. That's fairly healthy. However, if you have to reduce the price $1, that comes out of your profit. If you have to reduce the price 10%, your profit went from $45,000 to what? $15,000. Your margin for error is built into your profit. That's the only place that can absorb it. If you have cost overruns in your repairs, it comes out of your profit. Or your profit margin, more specifically. If you have contractors that don't finish and you have to hire somebody else, then that comes out of your profit margin. There is no other number in this deal to absorb any of that. That's why you need to be healthy in your profits. That is critical. And if you don't do that number right, if you go into this deal with numbers that are too tight, you will be guaranteed to have a problem. And there's always unexpected things, always. That's just That's just part of the deal. Your repair budget should always include contingencies. So let's go back to the buy formula. 70% of ARV. 300 minus or times 70% is 210, minus closing costs of approximately 5.5%. If my Aggie math is working, that should be about 13.2, I think. I'm going to call it 13 for easy math. So 210 minus 13, you're at 197. Let's say you have a $40,000 repair budget. Then you need to be buying that property at 157 or less in order to be confident that, well, not be confident, in order to make sure that you're coming to closing with no money out of pocket, and more specifically that you're hitting your profit margins and protecting yourself on the back end. Key. So if you have questions, guys, I'd be glad to look at ARV with you. I'd be glad to look at repair budgets with you. I'd be glad to help you work through these numbers. If you're an experienced investor, then you can go up on your you can maybe use more LTV. You can maybe push your numbers a little bit, but you have to be experienced. And I'm going to tell you right now, most investors that are experienced don't do that. It is a recipe for disaster. If you use 75% funding, for example, now your profit margin on the back end is 10%, not 15. Your margins and your margin for error is just, it's getting skinny. It's getting skinny. And, Eddie Gant, the owner of Jet Lending, has bought and sold over 1,900 houses now. He won't even do that. It's just not good business. It will get you in trouble. Anyway, Steve Skiller and Jet Lending, Hard Money Steve, 346-218-2623. Check the link below or check in the post for my link to get a quote. Thank you, guys.